Welcome, ADs here. In this video, I want to go through some shape design study. Well, how you go about studying shapes from other artists. So I did mention this in the last video I made on studying your favorite artists and like the basics of shape design. So let's just go through those one more time, but I'll talk about it more in the other video, so you can check that one out too. Make a list. Okay, so we've got simple versus complex. Yeah, we've got big, medium, and small. We've got asymmetry. You've got the basic shapes that you will learn in school: squares, triangles, and circles. We'll make sure to not only look at positive shapes, as in if this is a positive shape, then the negative shapes would be like this on the outside and stuff like that. So we've got to look at those too. We've also got, we just got to look at all the shapes. So even shadow shapes. And when it comes to simple versus complex, that could be, you know, detail versus less detail, which I guess in all senses. But for a shape, just a straight there, and then on the other side you can have some detail. Okay, or we could have simple, complex, straight versus curves as well. But I just like to use simple versus complex since it just covers everything. And we can also have simple versus complex in terms of like actual design detail, I guess. Like if you had an area and then you had lots of stuff in one place, and then in one area you leave like some, I guess, breathing room, and then in another area it's complex, and then next to that maybe more breathing room, but that's how you design, right? So ideally you don't want to have information everywhere in your design, like on this by TB Choi. On this side there isn't as much detail, right? So that's simple, but next to it a lot of this area is complex, and on a larger scale the top half of the body is complex. There's a lot of stuff going on there, and the bottom half isn't as detailed. There's less going on. Of course this will depend on the style. Or if you're doing animation, you can't have this much detail, unless maybe it's 3D. So yeah, we'll be looking at these things, and yeah, I've just grabbed a whole bunch of work from artists that I like, and in different styles as well. Although I don't have anything like super realistic, because it is harder to see with like super realistic styles, but it is there. It's just there isn't as much freedom to play around with shapes if you've got a very realistic style that you like to draw in. But they are there. If you're talking iconic characters that you could just recognize immediately without the detail, like if you just saw the silhouette, it would be a lot easier for your brain to recognize if it's in a more stylized style, like cartoony. Like everyone knows the Mickey Mouse silhouette, you just can't help it. But the silhouette of the Mickey Mouse, you know what it is. You don't need anything else. Whereas if it's realistic, it isn't as easy, but it can be done as long as we've got a good designer. Okay, so with that being said, let's see what we can find here. So I guess the first thing you might want to do is, if you can look at the big picture and see which of these shapes you think dominates, I guess. And if I look at it, I'm seeing lots of triangles, right? But a design doesn't have to be exclusively triangles, although it can be. Ideally, you'd want to have something that dominates throughout the design. So, I mean, probably don't need me to point that out, but remember negative and positive shapes. So, look at the folds. Triangle. Look at this negative shape here. Triangle. This is a triangle, and then well, if you zoom in really far, it's like a triangle there that has a triangle carved into it. Okay, so this is big picture, and then what you can do is carve into it. Right, you'll see that a lot. Right, if you don't see a triangle directly, if you just think of the bigger shape, you'll notice that it's one of these basic shapes that has other shapes carved into it. Okay, so let's see if we can find some simple. Well, actually, let's point out the shape of the character on the whole. Right, so if I just point this out, we've got a triangle there, and then over here there's a triangle carved out in the negative space. If I look at this shoulder, there is a triangle going on here, although in general it is quite curved. So what I'm also seeing is circles as well, especially in the negative shapes as well. Yeah, look at all these curved negative shapes. Right, and notice the consistency of these curved shapes. Right, these are the foundation. It's a good design in keeping things interesting. Over here, if I just separate this part, I've got simple, and then I've got these bumps I can call my complex. Even this shape here is kind of triangular, and then inside there's the circles again. Yeah, like I said earlier, it's simple here. It's complex. We've got a sprinkle of some squares. Right, so you can use all the shapes, but one of them is gonna be prominent. Yeah, but if you look at the torso too. Right, I see that. Looks like a triangle there. And then out of it is another triangle, so that's triangle, triangle. Okay. Again, lots of triangle shapes, and then you've got the circular negative, and so I could go on forever. We've got simplicity over here, and then on this side it's doing this, which is complex. So if you want to really see this stuff, you've got to do this so many times. What does jump out at me is the sharp nature, the triangles, right? And that's one thing as well. It's like psychologically speaking, like what kind of feeling do these shapes, like what do they make you feel? Like round shapes are usually, I guess, comforting. Triangles are like fast, speedy. Maybe someone who's cunning, right? There's lots of words you could associate. Like squares are like solid and grounded. That doesn't have to be the case, because if you combine shapes, you'll mix qualities together. But they do have a certain effect on our mind. Okay, just for the sake of time, let's move on. So again, by TV Toy. Right. So in this one, so just start with, we can see the shape of the body. I could just turn into a triangle. Okay. Even these leg shape are triangular. Right, and then that triangle has a triangle carved out of it. So yeah, I think triangles for sure. And I say the head shape, I guess without the mask, has a square base. Yeah, even at this angle. Very square. Even the arm shape. Well, that part of the arm at least. And look at this, we've got simple versus complex. right, and the asymmetry that we want. Let's see. And you'll notice as well there's a lot more detail, a lot more going on in the top half of the body. So like all this area is complex, whereas down to the legs it's less, well, there's a lot less going on. And even the colours don't stick out as much. Like there is this thing here, which is kind of a combination of squares and triangles, I'd say. Well, that's another thing as well. Maybe you might be seeing something different to me, but it is it is still good practice to just try and see the simple shape, and then your interpretation will take you wherever it takes you. Yeah, I really like this leg shape as well. This and this. So remember, it does have the tapering as well. That's another thing as well. Tapering shapes. So even if you do use like a rectangular shape, if you can, try and make it taper so it's going in a bit. But even that happens naturally on the body. What else can I point out? This design here, we've got a triangle, and then these kind of shoulder thingies. It's like a combination of a square and a triangle. So I'd say this design overall, probably these two square shapes. Well, on this angle, square accessories. Even this is squarish or rectangular. So yeah, ideally you want to try and keep consistency in your shape choices, but there are times where you should just explore and see where things take you. But if you're starting out, you've got to be conscious of these things. For certain artists, this is just second nature because they've done it so much. Hicham Hapchi, really cool character designer. Really graphic shapes. So you can pause the video, see what shapes speak to you of these three up here, and then see if we're thinking the same thing. So I'm seeing squares, right? So their head, pretty much square. It kind of tapers as well, and then you notice their hair shapes are square. You've got like that sort of thing going on. And if we're talking about even the neck, it's quite like a triangle, but like a tapering square. Negative triangles, shadow shapes, quite square. Also have some triangle qualities in there as well. Look at this, it's a square, but you rotate it and now it has like a triangle quality. The torso overall, I guess you could call it triangle for the top half, and then we've got a square down here. Even the legs are quite rectangular, and then we have shapes carved out of them. So, what do I mean? Let me point this out. So we've got asymmetry, right? We've got a peak here and a peak here, asymmetry for the lower leg, and then we've got sharp triangular qualities repeating, right? Triangle, but they also have like a square quality to them as well, right? See this? So it's like a triangle that you cut off. Right, so this stuff is not easy to do well. You've got to do it for, you just got to learn to see it first, and then try to apply it as much as you can. And you'll notice all this area is fairly simple. And then like all this armor, well, the arm, there's a lot more detail in there, right? So you've got your simple and complex work in there as well. There's something I haven't mentioned yet. I haven't mentioned big, medium, and small. But yeah, it can be anywhere. So, like on this hand, for example, we've got these triangle knuckles. We've got these square, like, parts of the finger. We've got this shape. One thing I can point out is if we compare the size of the torso to the head is small, isn't it? And then I guess the torso you can call big. But yeah, we go back to the arm. We've got this whole shape, which I guess I can call big if we compare them to the other parts of the finger. I mean, I'm not an expert at this stuff. But it's fine. Let's see if I can find another example. That's clearer. Okay, that's same artist, by the way. Okay, so if I see this character, I am seeing this. Like, remember, it's the outside shape that makes the most the difference, right? Well, that has the largest impact. So this character, the coat is like very rectangular. Even the shape here is rectangular, and then we've got like triangles sticking out. Right, hair shapes, triangle. Okay, so you got your big, medium, and small there. That's that's clear. Although at least I can notice right now. Right, so this small, I guess I'll call that big. I'll call this a medium, and then we've got another small. Alright, it just wouldn't be as interesting if they were all the same size. If you have big, medium, small, it's like there's a flow to things. It's like you start here and then you want to make your way around. But there's no real sense of direction. Right, so all the stuff that I listed up there, that applies to composition as well. So even if you study here, or if you're not interested in characters as much, you can look at backgrounds and stuff and apply this shape design stuff as well. Or prop design as well. Everything, pretty much. And look at the weapon as well. Just a square. And we've got a circle in there. Look at the head shape, circular, and then if we zoom in, we've got these triangles breaking that shape. Yeah, I really like Hapchi. It's just, the shapes are just really cool. Like, look at this leg shape. Like, if you haven't really broken out of, I guess, the fundamental kind of mindset of just like doing life drawing sessions, which, you know, is there for a reason. But if you want to kind of draw in this sort of way, you've got to start learning how to make, you know, bold shape choices, right? Like this one. This is really cool. And you got that, and there's a little triangle sticking out. Right. And in the beginning, like making these shape choices, I don't know, it might feel a bit strange, like deviating so much from the reference or something. But the more you do it, it just becomes a natural part of the way you draw. Yeah, I've still got plenty to learn. Most of the shape design that I've got in my head is mostly for figure drawing. I do want to, you know, get into more costume design as well. Yeah, look at this, the arm here. It's just a good shape, right? Maybe it might not be an obvious triangle or circle. It's a good shape, right? Because it has simple on one side and complex on the other side. But if you look at the shape, you can ask yourself, which of the qualities does it have, right? So if I just undo, you've got, it's very curvy. Even this peak here, it's not sharp. So just keep that in mind as well. Like even these ones here. Oh, that one's kind of sharp. I think this one isn't as much. It's just softer. It's like you can have a triangle with circular qualities. Try and see the big shape. So I look at this one and I see it is basic. I see this. Okay, that's a circular quality, right? Even this whole side is just that, and then you've got the shorts breaking the silhouette. So it isn't too detailed, but it's just nice, isn't it? Even the head is just pretty much a circle. You got like circular ears. Even the fingers have circular qualities to them. Maybe the palm of the hand is quite squarish. You've got the legs, which are squarish. Alright, yeah, if you want to do this, you just have to grab a bunch of artists that you like, grab their work, look at it, and just train yourself to see the basic shapes. And then try apply it to your own work. And your first attempt is probably going to be quite terrible. You shouldn't expect to be a master at this in like a week or a month. It's just not going to happen. Yeah, so like I do, you can do this stuff and then just copy it and just repeat that over and over again. And these shape choices, they'll kind of just be ingrained in you. But yeah, it is a good idea to just grab some work and just identify what you see, and then you can draw it afterwards. This artist is Pua 24, I think. Okay, so we've got Krenz. Okay, so with this design, what shapes do you see? I'm seeing squares and triangles. Maybe squares dominate a bit. I mean, if I could doodle at this level, I think I could just kind of just call this a square. And then inside that, there are more squares. And even inside that, there are more squares. And when I say square, rectangle, I'm referring to the same thing. So not necessarily a square in the mathematical sense. Yeah, so you've got that. And even these folds as well, they have square nature. Right, and if you don't study this stuff, like this probably won't occur to you for a while. Right, you might be looking at the reference and you might be sticking to it too closely when you could be designing it. Like you could say to yourself, I want to take this reference, but I'm gonna try and make squares. Use squares as the dominant shape. Okay, so if you're seeing something awkward in the reference, you're gonna try and design it with square qualities, which is not easy. But this is what's gonna help you see how other artists have done it. Okay, you're inside here. It's like square, triangle. So you see the combination. Right, so unless you've studied this stuff, it'll just go over your head. Like even the hair, like the tufts of hair, there's triangular qualities. Okay, and that's all over inside, all over there. And then there's like a little bit of circles, right? So these are quite circular. And then, I'm not sure what these are, but you got circles there as well. Like the clothing here is quite triangular. Yeah, this whole thing, I could just call that a rectangle, I guess. And you got a rectangle for that, which is just a natural part of the way the hand looks, right? And this is a rectangle, but then, okay, so it's a rectangle at its simplest, but then we're carving out of that big shape, right? But it still has the rectangular quality. That's what you want to try and do. See the biggest shape you can, and then see how that shape has been carved into. This is Ramon Nunes. So for this one, triangles, I don't think, I think mostly triangles and a bit of squares. Triangles and squares. Okay, so should be a nice obvious one. Even the hair. It's like tapering into a triangle. Even like the corner of the eye is quite triangular. And even the eyebrow, see that peak? Right, very sharp peak. And if I join this to like here or something, triangle. A shadow shape, triangle. And look at the lips, triangle. This is how you become good. You learn to work with these very abstract shapes. Alright, so got a triangle there, and then a triangle here that's been carved out. Okay, I've got Piba 24 again. So I thought this was really cool. I have like the same character, but in I guess varying styles. But as you can probably tell, very square dominance, and we can see that from here. So like the whole body here is just, well, to be honest, the whole thing can just be reduced to a square. And look at the space between his legs, square. The mustache, you've got like these triangles. Alright, the hat is a square, and the hat has a triangle carved out of it. Right, look at this arm shape. Square, and then I guess I could call that a triangle that connects to it. If you go to the other end, it's still pretty much the same idea, right? The whole thing is pretty much square. Alright, the space between his legs isn't as square as it was here, but it's like a tapering square, a rectangle. Even the shoes are quite square. Right, so I know you might be looking at this and you might be seeing something different, but you want to really try and find the biggest shape you can. Look at the arm here. Okay, so that's like quite circular. In the head, again, it is square like it was here, but the bottom is quite round, so it's still a thing here. So it's like squarish, but there's like a roundish bottom. Okay, so lots of things that you can do, but you might not have an idea unless you study it. And I'm not talking like just doing 2 studies or 10 studies. You just gotta grab your favorite artist's work. Well, maybe like 100, 200 studies. And then hopefully by then, this stuff will, well, you'll be able to recognize it a lot easier. But what you can do is just like, you can study this stuff, and then try apply it to your work, and then come back, study again. And just go back and forth. But yeah, it's going to take a while. There's a reason why these artists are so good with using shapes. It's because, you know, they've been at it for a long time. We have Max Greg. Not sure if I spelled that right. Max Greg has really, really cool shapes. So this, the very obvious, I guess we could just encompass the whole thing. Triangle mouth shape, circular eyes, triangular ear, hand is quite square, square. This is more on the triangular side over here. Okay, look how bold these shapes are. This is the sort of thing that I really like. I guess the reason I'm not really keen on realistic styles, so I love the use of bold shapes like this, which you don't get as much in realistic styles. But yes, look at the fingers, squares. Negative triangle. Okay, you could just sit here and just analyze the whole design. Look at the got what that name is for the skull, but triangle. I mean, I could sit here forever and just continue it. Well, look at the shadow shapes down here. Triangle. And behind here is a triangle. It's like a softer triangle. So for this one, if it wasn't obvious, you know, squares and triangles. Square head, triangle ears. You can see the only circular part that I can see is, well, just the eyes. So you got this here. Yeah, not many circles. Okay, Max Greg again. Definitely an artist you should have on your study list. Okay, so yeah, so again, we want to try and break down simple shapes, and then we can look inside those shapes. Okay, so this, just call this a triangle, and then the clothing is, you've got this shape, got the leg, like a one big rectangle. And then it's got a nice triangle attached to it. We've got simplicity on this side. And on this side we've got complex in comparison. Right, the simple complex stuff is relative. Don't think I've pointed out big, medium, small in a while. So if you look at the hair, it's got like this kind of shape, and then there's another one here. Then I could point out maybe this one. But yeah, notice how there's size variation. Got this. Alright, that's what you want. There's small shapes, medium shapes, and big shapes. Like this, simple, and then you got this complexity on the inside. Or even the dog as well. Triangles. Triangle eyes. Well, teeth, naturally. Even like, I feel like there's a tapering here. Negative triangular shapes. You've got like square-ish shoes. Alright, so this design is, well, very rectangular. It's like the head can just be that. I guess I could do that with the hair. It's also, it's like a rectangle and another rectangle, and then we've got this roundish triangle. And then the legs they're almost just long rectangles. But then there's more subtlety to it. Right, you've got like a rhythm going from here to, okay. Even the backpack, rectangle. The arm is very rectangle. It has more to it, but if I had to simple it down to something, it should be a rectangle. Even the fingers. Right, look how square they are. Okay, this artist's name's here. Okay, I don't think I need to say what dominates in this case. Because there's one right here. Okay. Look at this. Look at all of this. Even the hair. Sharp triangles. And even the hairstyle as a whole. We could just call a triangle like that. But yeah, design consistency. It's hard to pull off well. But if you can do it, you know, you're on your way to becoming a good designer. Vargai art, very, 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 very cool. What do you see here? Circles, roundish rectangles, rectangle for the inside also. Circle armor. Squares, circles. Okay, and the girl has been rounded off. Square footwear. Which again, they have round qualities to them. Okay, so yeah, I'll say it again. You're gonna have to do this a lot to kind of ingrain it into yourself. And then you have to try it and fail a bunch of times. But I still need to do that. Fun designs and memorable designs are going to be ones that can be easily distilled, I'd say, into simple shapes. Like look at even the spikes, like it's a sprinkling of triangles, right? It's like these two dominate, but even where there are triangles, they're roundish, right? They're not sharp, they're round. Okay. I guess just a circle. And that's just something I really like. We can make such a simple design. Right? I mean, you know, other stuff that you see might have lots of stuff going on, but this is so simple. Like you've got that. And then the ears, which again are roundish. And I guess I could call this also that in the end. But I also see, like, in terms of the clothing, there's like this stacked triangle sort of thing going on. And then its weapon is quite square and has rounded, like a rounded triangle. Circles, squares, non-stop. An artist that I really, really admire, Satoshi Matsumura. Another you should add to your list, even if you're not into cartoony. Even if you're not into cartoony, more graphic styles, it's still good to study and just learn to see these shapes more easily. And the really good thing about this one is But yeah, there's just triangles everywhere. And this person, they post loads of character designs. So there's plenty to study. There's triangles everywhere. And then look at this. Well, if I just do that. And then even the head is basically the same thing. And then we've got like a square nose that's been like turned. Square mustache. There's triangle. Triangle. Oh, do that. And the arm shape. Triangle. Square hands. Square mallet. And then you'll notice there's something that sticks out a bit more. And that's a piece circle at the back. Right? Quite different from everything else. We do have round qualities, but we have like a circle back there. And circles here as well. Squarish eyebrows. Even the eyes. Even the eye shape. It's everything. About who this artist was. Goes by this name on Instagram. Yeah, I thought this was a good example because simple, complex on a large scale. Right? That's simple, and then you've got a lot of bumpy stuff on this side. Right? And like the crown. Like normally you might see that kind of shape going on here. But notice how smooth like this is the back. Right? That's carried over into the crown. And you know, instead of these shapes, it's like that. Yeah, so I think circles and triangles for this design. So yeah, should be obvious. Circles in this design, and everything else has a circular quality to it. Well, I guess apart from these areas. But over here, inside, we've got these triangular patterns that have they're rounded triangles. Yeah, so you got sprinkling of triangles like here, but again, it's not this triangle, it's like this kind of triangle. So it has a rounded quality in there. Right, negative shapes, rounded. Okay, look at this. Very rounded in nature. This is squarish, but we can see the rounded quality over there. Even the feet's rounded. So you want to try and strive for that consistency. This is Max again. Max Rake. A very good use of big, medium, and small, like exaggerating. I've got the torso, it's just kind of square, and then look how small the legs are. And then you got the feet. Okay, so and the head is just squarish, isn't it? Okay, so you've got like a big, you've got medium, you've got small. Yeah, look at all these squares. Let's go to the head for a second again. Look at the hairstyle. It's sharp, but it's very clearly has a square, a rectangle as a starting point. Right, and then you got these sharp shapes. Okay, all these things matter. I really like his arm shapes. Like I like the one here before I ruined it. Yeah, I really like that. I like designs with like a large forearm versus smaller upper arm. Yeah, even the shoulder is very square. Yeah, like I said, very good artists to study from. So yeah, definitely add Max to your list. And Satoshi. Like obviously all these artists are good, but as just people to study for very graphic shapes that shouldn't be too hard to see, these are good artists. Okay, we have we go by this on Instagram. So here's lots of pointy shapes, lots of triangles. Yeah, I really love this stuff. It just looks so fun to do. Lots of pointy shapes. Got the elbow. Right. See how there's such a consistency in the design, and then look at the hair. That's what we got. More curvy shapes. Even the torso is quite triangular. Like if I did this, and then I guess this, it's like pretty much two triangles stacked on top of each other, so adds to the design. Okay, this one shouldn't be too hard to work out. Got big circle. We've got this. We got that. We got these. Right, and look at the contrast in size. The big, medium, small. It's always there. As long as they're a good designer, they know how to sprinkle all these design elements in there. Square, square, square. Yeah, look at the contrast of the legs versus the torso versus the head. Look at the shoes. Look at the round quality, right, which supports the roundish belly. Even the arms, they're quite triangular, but also have square qualities in there as well. We've got a circle here. Consider that a rectangle, rectangle, rectangle. This is from Code Geass. So we've got triangles and circles for this one. So look at these lovely curves. Oh. Look how they become sharp as you end, which normally happens, right? But it adds to the design quality. And the torso is quite square, but maybe we could call it this in a sense. But yeah, like it right here. It is more triangular. And you got this circle, and then you got these triangles up there. But yeah, sharp shapes and some rounded shapes. The legs, quite triangle. Let's see. Okay, we've got rounded character, like round eyes. And then we've got triangles in there. So the legs you could consider as triangles that have been cut off, like I mentioned earlier. But if you cut them off there, then we get that. So just tapering triangles, because that supports, I guess, the hairstyle, which has a lot of sharp shapes in there. This is from Samurai Champloo. So you see we've got sharp shapes. We've got the big, medium, small. We've got small here. We've got a big. And you've got medium ones here. And you got these circles. Right? Even the eye shape, round. Right? If you look at the eye shapes, they're not always round. Well, this is quite zoomed in, but the corners are sharp, which supports the triangle, like the head, quite round. I think this is also from Code Geass. So you notice in this one, there's kind of a repeating shape. Okay. So we got that, and then it's broken by like these sharp shapes. I've kind of got that over here as well. I've got this, and then broken by these sharp shapes. I think only this side isn't as clear. It's like the same shape on both sides, sort of. Yeah. Just like a variation of that same shape. In particular, in animation styles, you probably want to do this just to keep shape consistency in various angles, or as much as possible. Okay, we have Sean Galloway, one of my favourites as well. Again, really cool shapes. I love this leg shape. Right, Batman. Got sharp shapes. And again, in the design you've got all these sharp shapes in there. And this could be complex, like all of this stuff here. And over here, in contrast, that'll be more simple. But yeah, lots going on. Like even this leg down here. Like this area is big, then like this bit is small. And I guess the foot could be a medium. Right? You could really play around with those sizes. Look at this, simple, and then you got all this busy triangles as your complex. Satoshi Matsumura again. Look how graphic. This is triangle. We've got this. Right, so, well, if I point out the really graphic ones, triangles. Remember, these are all very graphic shapes. It's like on their own, they don't mean much. But then like you put them together in this sort of way, and now you have a character. Yeah, I'm sure you can see these triangles everywhere on the outside, even on the inside. And then the eye is round. Nice contrast to all the triangles throughout the design. Very rounded design over here. Okay, we have asymmetry, glass symbol. It's just straight versus curve essentially. Here we have the asymmetry. Already, this peak is more broad, whereas this is more defined. But yeah, lots of round shapes. Yeah, pretty much all over. All the shapes are soft. and rounded. Okay, so it's like you maintain these things throughout the design. And I think the last one I got here, by artist here, Nicola. Very cool designs. So you can see the head is like, could be just a square with triangles attached to it. You've got these very rectangular shapes. They just repeat. They just got different sizes, big, medium, small. Got these bumps versus this side. Right, there's more information here. So that'll be my complex. Look at this, just a nice tapering. So yeah, I hope that was useful to see the basic shapes in these designs, because that's where they start. That's where you want to start, and then work off those things. I mean, some artists may not, start with very graphic shapes. They might just be able to do it, like, it might be integrated into the process in a different way. This is all there is. I don't think I've missed anything out. But yeah, you got your simple versus complex, you got your big, medium, small, you got your asymmetry, you got your basic shapes that you did in kindergarten, and also make sure you look at all the shapes in there, positive and negative, as well as the shadows shapes as well. So yeah, really, you just have to sit back or find artists that you like, grab their work, put them on a page like this, and just go through them. Like, the first thing you should do is decide, right, what shapes dominate, and then go from there and see if you can see those shapes that you just figured out. See if you can see them repeating. Like, okay, maybe there's in this case, there might be triangles, but maybe the triangles have a circular quality to them, right? And maybe you might find the other shape that's not in there. Maybe you'll see it. It'll just be kind of like sprinkled, just here and there. Yeah, do this over and over again, and then yeah, why not pick a few to just copy? All right, so it might be a bit boring. We're not really drawing much, but it's a very useful exercise to train yourself to see the simpler shapes and get used to understanding and noticing good design. Yeah, there's not much else to say, but just go ahead and start doing these studies, and if you want, you can post them in the Discord. I mean, this is still something that I need to study as well, or more of, because I've done it in the past already. If I really want to get better at character design, because I did want to be a character designer, but I kind of decided to do something else and not make it my main thing. But I do want to learn how to put it off. So one thing that you could do is draw from reference and just decide on a shape that's gonna dominate. So you take a reference and you'll be like, okay, I'm gonna use squares as my dominant shape, and then work off that, and then I'll give you a sense of direction. But yeah, not much else to say. Just try it, see how it goes, see what you notice. Start off with trying to see the biggest shapes that you can, and then go from there. Yeah, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. But yeah, until next time, bye bye.